My sons publicly humiliated me, so I sent them one email that destroyed everything. I should have known something was off when none of my sons hugged me, not even a handshake. They just stood there with tight smiles and jittery eyes, like they were waiting for something to happen. Something big. It was my 50th birthday. A catered event. Live jazz. Dozens of people in suits and dresses laughing over cocktails while I walked around pretending I still mattered to someone. But let me back up. I'd been a father for 27 years. 3 sons. I raised them myself after their mother walked out on us. She said she was suffocating, that she needed to find herself. What she found was a personal trainer 10 years younger, but whatever. I gave those boys everything. I missed promotions to be at every school play. I learned how to braid hair when one of them played a princess in the school musical. I did therapy when they begged me to be more emotionally available, whatever that meant. I did everything they asked. So when they offered to handle the speech for my party, I thought, wow, they finally appreciate me. I thought maybe they'd show an old slideshow. Maybe tell a few embarrassing but loving stories. But I wasn't ready for this. I wasn't ready to be humiliated in front of everyone I knew. The music stopped. Lights dimmed. And the big screen behind the stage flickered to life. A video started playing. At first, it was pictures of me as a young dad, holding my kids, building sandcastles, teaching them to ride bikes. I smiled. I actually teared up. And then her voice. Her voice. My ex-wife. Over the pictures, she started narrating. He failed as a husband. He failed as a father. And he failed as a man. I left him because he couldn't satisfy me in any way. Laughter rippled through the crowd. I thought I misheard. But then the images changed, each one more cruel than the last. Pictures of me asleep on the couch with empty beer cans photoshopped in. A clip of me yelling during a soccer match, edited with clown music. A montage of embarrassing dad moments paired with sarcastic captions like Best Role Model 2008. And then, a family therapy session clip. A private one. How did they get that? There I was, crying in front of a therapist, saying I didn't know how to connect with my sons anymore. Saying I was scared they hated me. And over it, my ex-wife's voice again. Pathetic. The video ended with a title card. Why we're changing our last name. Each of my sons stood and announced their new surnames. Not mine. Not ours. And the room erupted in applause. People were clapping. Some were crying from laughter. A few tried to hide their discomfort. I looked around, stunned, numb, frozen. No one looked at me. Not one person. And my sons? They just sat back down, proud of themselves. Like they'd just delivered a TED Talk. I didn't cry. I didn't yell. I just stood up, walked to the mic, and said, "Thank you all for coming." And I left. Didn't touch the cake. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't even look back. That was last night. This morning, my phone won't stop vibrating. Over 60 missed calls. Texts from my sons. Voicemails from their mom. All of them desperate to talk. Because I did something they never expected. And now, everything's different. After the party, I went straight home. Didn't take off my shoes. Didn't turn on the lights. I just sat in the dark with my suit still on, tie half loosened, phone face down on the table, vibrating every few minutes like it was mocking me. I didn't answer any of them. Not even when my youngest, Tyler, sent me a 3-minute voice message sobbing. Because now I understood something terrifying. They planned this. Weeks in advance. Maybe months. They had the video edited. The narration recorded. Even the timing of the reveal, right at the height of the party, when all eyes were on them. That wasn't some spontaneous act of emotional outburst. That was a public execution. And I was the target. But here's what they didn't know. This wasn't the first time I'd been betrayed by people I loved. This wasn't the first time someone looked me in the eye, smiled, and stuck a knife in my back. Let me rewind a little. After their mother left, I went into full survival mode. Worked 2 jobs. Packed lunches at 6 a.m. every morning. Read bedtime stories at night even when I could barely keep my eyes open. I didn't date for 4 years. Didn't want to bring anyone into their lives who might leave again. But nothing I did was ever enough. They'd roll their eyes when I reminded them to do homework. They'd call me too intense when I tried to talk about feelings. They told me, at one point, I was the reason Mom left. That one stuck. Especially when it came from Josh, my middle son, the one who used to beg me to hold his hand at night when he had nightmares. He was the first to pull away when they got older. The first to say, "You never listen." Even though I did. Every time. Every damn time. There were signs. Of course there were. When they all stopped calling me Dad and started calling me man. When they skipped Father's Day 2 years in a row and said they were busy with life. When I saw posts on social media of them on trips, ones they told me they couldn't afford when I asked if we could do a family vacation. But I made excuses. They're just figuring themselves out, I told myself. They're young. They'll come back around. Now I know the truth. They didn't grow apart. They didn't just change. They rewrote the story. In their version, I'm the villain. The emotionally unavailable dad. The awkward, overbearing guy who doesn't get it. The reason their childhood wasn't perfect. And you know what? Fine. Let them believe that. But I wasn't going to sit here and cry into a whiskey glass like some cliché. I opened my laptop, logged into the joint account I'd been using to help them with rent, tuition, car payments, groceries. Paused, then closed it. I didn't touch the money. Not yet. I wanted them to feel the silence first. Because when someone humiliates you that publicly, the most powerful thing you can do isn't scream. It's disappear. I waited 3 days. 3 full days of silence. No calls. No text replied to. Just the soft hum of my fridge and the occasional buzz of a phone I refused to touch. I wanted them to sit in it. The silence. The absence. I wanted them to feel what it's like when the man they humiliated simply disappears. On the 4th morning, I was halfway through a cup of black coffee when I heard a knock at the door. Not the doorbell. A knock. Light. Uneven. Hesitant. Like whoever was on the other side didn't even know why they were here. I opened it. It was Tyler. The youngest. The one who used to beg me to read the same bedtime story 5 times in a row. The one I taught to drive. The one who cried in the car after his first breakup while I sat there. Silent, but present. He stood there now, hoodie wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, his bottom lip quivering like a kid again. "Can I come in?" he whispered. I didn't say a word. Just stepped aside. He sat on the edge of the couch like he was scared to leave a mark. His hands fidgeted in his lap. When he finally spoke, his voice cracked like glass under pressure. "We shouldn't have done it like that," he said. I didn't want to. Not really. I stayed silent. He looked down at his hands and kept going, like if he stopped, the guilt would drown him. "It was Josh's idea," he said. "He said it would be cathartic. Like healing. That people would understand us better if we told our story. Healing. Right. Nothing says healing like publicly executing your father in front of 100 people. He made it sound like a documentary," Tyler said. "Like we were reclaiming our childhood or some crap." He sniffled, wiped his eyes with the sleeve of his hoodie. "I didn't even know Mom was going to be part of it." Josh added her voice in at the last minute. "I found out 2 days before the party. I told him it was too far. He said it was symbolic. That we needed it to finally break free." That word again. Break free. From what? A father who gave up his life for them? I clenched my jaw, but still said nothing. "I didn't feel free," Tyler whispered. "I felt sick. I still do." That's when I finally spoke. "So why didn't you stop it?" He looked up at me like a guilty child caught in a lie. His eyes welled again. "Because I was scared of being the only one who still cared." Boom. There it was. The first crack. They weren't some united front. They weren't a band of brothers standing up to the big bad dad. They were fractured. Scared. Lost. And one of them was starting to see clearly. I walked to the kitchen and poured us some tea. He held the mug with both hands like it was the only thing keeping him from falling apart. "They think you're a monster," he said. "They blame you for everything. The divorce. The pressure. Even Josh flunking out of college." I let out a bitter laugh. Josh flunked because he spent more time trying to be a TikTok therapist than studying. I offered to help. He told me to stop micromanaging his life. Tyler gave a sad little nod. "I know," he said quietly. We sat in silence for a while. Then he said something I didn't think I'd ever hear from any of them. "I'm sorry, Dad." No hesitation. No sarcasm. No half-hearted apology disguised as a joke. Just those words. And for the first time, I didn't feel anger. I felt something far more dangerous. Clarity. This wasn't a family falling apart. This was a war. But not between me and them. It had already begun. Between them. It didn't take long. Less than 24 hours after Tyler left my house, my phone lit up with a message from an unknown number. "Wow. So you're turning him against us now too?" No hello. No context. Just that. I didn't respond. 2 hours later, another ping. "Josh, you're really good at this, you know. Playing the victim. Gaslighting. Manipulating people. Classic." Still no reply. Then a voicemail. 2 minutes and 13 seconds of rage. His voice, shaking with fury, accusing me of emotional sabotage, saying I was twisting Tyler's mind and breaking the last bit of unity we had. Unity? You mean the coordinated ambush you pulled off at my birthday? The circus act where you played director, producer, and executioner? I saved the voicemail, not because I needed it, just because I knew he'd regret every single word one day. I didn't say a thing to Tyler. Didn't want to put him in the middle of it. But the next night, around 11 p.m., he messaged me first. He found out. I think Josh is losing it. I just replied. How? He went through my phone, said he was checking if I was safe, then saw our messages. He screamed at me for half an hour, said I was undoing years of healing, whatever that means. Did he hit you? No. Just words. The usual. Disloyal. Weak. Called me Dad's puppet. That last one hit hard. Dad's puppet. Because in Josh's world, the only reason someone would forgive me is if I brainwashed them. Not because I raised them. Not because I loved them. Not because I gave up everything to be their father. No. It had to be manipulation. Because if it wasn't, then he might have to admit he was wrong. And Josh would rather set the house on fire than admit he lit the match. But here's the part that really got me. He's spiraling. He called Luke and told him I've switched sides. Said I'm dangerous. That I'm enabling your abuse. What did Luke say? He didn't say much. But he didn't defend me either. Just went quiet. Of course. My oldest. The quiet observer. Always the mediator. The one who smiled during that birthday roast like it wasn't killing me inside. He was the glue between Josh and Tyler. Now, he was watching the glue crack. I didn't sleep much that night. I just sat in my living room, staring at the ceiling, listening to the old air vent hum like it used to when the boys were kids, when they still believed I was the hero. I thought about the first time I held each of them, their tiny hands, their sleepy smiles, the weight of responsibility that hit me the moment I realized I'm all they've got. And now? Now I was the enemy. But I wasn't going to beg for their love. Not anymore. They took my name off their lives? Fine. But I still had one thing they didn't. My dignity. And dignity doesn't kneel. It was Sunday. Almost a week since the party. I was out walking. No destination, just motion. Air. Silence. That's when my phone rang. Unknown number. Again. I almost ignored it. But something in my gut said, pick up. Hello. There was a pause. And then, Dad? I froze. Luke. The oldest. The balanced one. The smart one. The one who always kept the peace when his brothers fought over dumb things. The one who stayed calm, collected, rational. The one who said nothing at the party. Until now. I didn't say anything. I just waited. I didn't know if I should call, he said. I thought maybe I didn't have the right to. Still, I said nothing. He sighed. Deep. Shaky. I need to tell you something, he said. Something I should have said years ago. My heart pounded. I stopped walking. Luke never spoke in riddles. He was the straight talker. But this was different. I knew about the video, he said. My throat tightened. I helped edit it, he continued. Josh didn't know Premiere. Tyler didn't care about the tech side. So they asked me. He paused, waiting for me to scream, to hang up, something. But I stayed silent. I didn't think it would go that far, he said. At first, it was supposed to be funny. Like a roast. You know? We all laugh, we hug, we move on. I almost laughed. A roast. With clips of me crying in therapy. But he kept talking. Then Josh kept pushing, he said. He added Mom's voice last minute. I told him it crossed a line. He said the line didn't exist anymore. I clenched my jaw. And you still let it happen? I asked. Silence. Then, yes. Another pause. Then his voice cracked. I didn't have the guts to stop it. And there it was. The most honest thing I'd heard from any of them. You know what hurts the most? I said. Not the jokes. Not the footage. Not even your mother's voice. It's the silence. Watching you sit there. Knowing. And doing nothing. I know, he said. Barely a whisper. And I'll regret that forever. He inhaled sharply. Josh is unraveling, he added. He's losing it. He keeps texting me 20 times a day. Calls Tyler a traitor. Says I'm next. I stayed quiet. Luke's voice dropped lower. There's something else. Another pause. Then the words that changed everything. Dad, the video wasn't Josh's idea. I stopped breathing. It was Mom's. I stood frozen on the sidewalk, phone pressed to my ear, listening to Luke breathe. Then he said it again, quieter this time. Like it hurt to admit. It was Mom's idea. I closed my eyes. And just like that, memories I hadn't touched in over a decade came flooding back. The day she left. No tears. No dramatic goodbye. Just packed bags and the cold words. I can't breathe around you. She left me with 3 boys, a mortgage, and a fridge full of food she never bothered to throw out. I thought that was it. She walked out, I stayed. She ran, I raised them. But apparently, she never really left. She reached out to Josh about a year ago, Luke said. Said she wanted to reconnect. Said therapy helped her see the truth. And what truth was that? I asked. That you were a controlling narcissist who damaged her and ruined us. I laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was absurd. I had been the one begging her to go to counseling. I had been the one who stayed up at night, lying awake, wondering if I was too hard on the kids. I had been the one who said no when people told me to take her to court for abandoning the family. And now she was the victim? She ghosted her children for 8 years and somehow made herself the hero? She sent Josh books, Luke continued. Articles, podcasts, therapy guides, stuff about childhood trauma, gaslighting, emotional abuse. And he bought it. He didn't just buy it, Luke said. He worshipped it. It gave him a story, a reason for everything wrong in his life. And she fed it to him like candy. And now it all made sense. The sudden shift in tone, the terminology, the way Josh started using therapy language like a sword, diagnosing everyone but himself. It wasn't healing. It was indoctrination. And she was the architect. But Luke wasn't done. She said if we helped make the video, she'd pay for Josh's student loans. I felt the air leave my lungs. Of course, it was never just about revenge. It was leverage. And Josh, he didn't do it for justice, or closure, or inner peace. He did it for a check. I'm sorry, Luke said again. I should have stopped it. I should have told you. I stared down the empty street in front of me, cold wind brushing my face like the world itself was ashamed. Do you still talk to her? I asked. No, he said. Not after the party. I told her I was done. And Tyler? He blocked her weeks ago, said she creeped him out. And Josh? A long pause. He moved in with her. That did it. That broke something in me. He went back to her. After all this, after everything she'd done, my son chose the woman who abandoned him over the man who raised him. No more denial. No more excuses. This wasn't just a family rift. This was a war. And I'd already lost one soldier to the other side. But what Josh didn't know, what she didn't know, was that I still had 2 things they could never take from me. Truth and patience. And I was done being silent. The old me would have confronted them. Called Josh, demanded an apology, slammed my fist on some metaphorical table. But I wasn't that man anymore. That man got humiliated on his 50th birthday by his own children. That man thought silence would be enough. Now I realized silence was just the beginning. I wasn't going to fight. I was going to expose. And they were going to unravel, all on their own. The first step? An old email, buried deep in my archives, from a time when their mother tried to come back into the picture, maybe 5 years ago. The subject line? Don't tell the boys. In it, she confessed that she'd made mistakes, that she wasn't ready for motherhood back then, and that she needed space from responsibility. She literally wrote the words, "You were always the better parent, but I couldn't live in your shadow anymore." I didn't reply to it at the time, but I saved it. Now, I forwarded it. To Tyler, to Luke, and to Josh. No subject, no context, just the raw truth, straight from the source. Then I put my phone down and waited. Hourglass not done. 20 minutes later, Tyler replied. What the hell? 5 minutes after that, Luke. I never saw this. I didn't know. And then, silence. From Josh? Nothing. Not a word. But the next day, something happened that told me everything I needed to know. Josh's TikTok account, the one where he posted healing journey, videos, vague self-help rants, and trauma-dumping monologues about our family, vanished. Deleted. Gone. The comments he used to get, the applause, the echo chamber of sympathy, gone. Later that night, I got a message from someone I didn't recognize. Username I'd never seen. But the name? The face in the tiny icon. Her. Their mother. She sent 3 words. That was Lo. I stared at the screen and actually laughed. Lo. No, sweetheart. Lo was walking out on 3 kids and rewriting the past like it was a screenplay. Lo was using your own son's bitterness as a weapon, then hiding behind therapy jargon and fake tears. All I did was lift the curtain. And apparently, that was enough. Josh didn't respond to the email. Not a word. Not a message. Not a late-night rant disguised as processing. He went silent, but the world around him didn't. The silence? It was the beginning of the end. The podcast he was developing dropped by the studio. His name disappeared from the website overnight. The TikToks? Gone. The GoFundMe for his healing retreat? Deleted. And the freelance gig he used to brag about constantly? Yeah. Someone sent them the video from my birthday. Unedited. No music. No filters. Just a man with a microphone calling his own father a parasite in front of strangers who laughed because they were too uncomfortable to leave. And employers? They don't like men with messiah complexes and family drama that bleeds into the public eye. One by one, the doors started closing. And Josh? He crawled into the only place that still welcomed him. Back to her. Back to the woman who planted the poison. But even she had limits. Because a week later, Luke called me again. He's not doing great. Defined not great, I said. He hasn't left her basement in 4 days. She told him to start paying rent or leave. I bit my tongue to keep from laughing. So he's freeloading off both parents now? No, Luke said. Just one. You cut him off. She just figured out she should have done the same 10 years ago. The irony was delicious. The mastermind of my public shaming couldn't even pay for his own Wi-Fi. But here's the part that hit differently. Tyler's been going over there, Luke added, trying to talk to him. Why? I asked. Because he still thinks he can save him. That hurt. Because once upon a time, I did too. But some people, they don't want to be saved. They want to be right. Even if it destroys them. The real twist came 3 days later. Another email. From Josh. Subject line. If you ever cared about me at all, read this. It was long. Messy. Equal parts apology and blame. He said he was sorry, but also said I should have seen it coming. He said he didn't hate me, but also said I was never really there. He asked for help, but didn't say what kind. It ended like this. I don't know who I am anymore. I don't even know who I'm mad at. You, her, myself, all of you. But I'm tired. I'm so tired. I stared at the screen for a long time, then closed it. I didn't reply, because at some point, saving someone who chose to drown becomes enabling. And I wasn't that man anymore. It was a Thursday afternoon. Normal day. Quiet. The kind of boring I used to pray for. I was sitting on my porch with a cup of coffee, scrolling through headlines I didn't care about, when my phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again. For a second, I thought Josh? But no. This time, it was a text. Simple. Direct. Hey, I'm Kelly, Tyler's girlfriend. Can we talk? That caught me off guard. I'd heard her name in passing. Knew she existed. Tyler never brought her around after the party, said things were too weird. But something about the timing. I replied. Sure. What's up? Her response came almost instantly. I think Tyler needs help, but not in the way he thinks. She asked if we could meet. And maybe I should have said no. Maybe I should have left all of it behind. But something told me to go. We met at a quiet diner on the edge of town. The kind of place with sticky menus and booths older than my car. She was already there when I arrived. Mid-20s. Nervous energy. Eyes that had seen too much too young. She stood when she saw me, extended a hand like she was meeting a ghost. Thank you for coming, she said. I nodded. Sat down. Waited. She didn't waste time. I think you need to know. Tyler's not okay. My chest tightened. He won't say it. He keeps pretending he's fine. But I've seen the way he flinches when the phone rings. How he shuts down every time Josh's name comes up. He's trying to be the bridge between everyone. But it's breaking him. I didn't interrupt. Just listened. Because she wasn't telling me this for drama. She was telling me because she loved him. He still blames himself, she continued. For the video. For not stopping it. For not defending you. And no matter what you say, it won't matter until he forgives himself. I looked out the window. The sky was overcast. Heavy. Just like me. Why are you telling me this? I asked. She took a deep breath. Then hit me with it. Because you're the only person in his life who didn't give up on him. And right now, he needs a father, not just silence. That landed. Hard. Because I'd been so focused on what they did to me, I didn't see what it did to him. He was still a kid, trying to clean up the wreckage of a war he didn't even start. And maybe, just maybe, it was time for me to stop punishing him for a crime he didn't fully commit. I'll reach out to him, I said finally. She smiled. Small. Tired. Grateful. Thank you. As she stood to leave, she turned back and asked one final question. Do you still want your family back? Or just revenge? I didn't answer. Because the truth? I didn't know. Not yet. A week passed after I met Kelly. I didn't text Tyler. Didn't call. I waited. Not to punish him, but to give him space and let myself be ready. Because reaching out to someone who hurt you, even if they regret it, takes a kind of strength people don't talk about. It's not loud. It's not noble. It's vulnerable and terrifying. But on Sunday morning, I finally did it. Come by if you want to talk. Simple. No pressure. No expectations. 5 minutes later, 3 dots appeared. Then disappeared. Then nothing. I left the door unlocked. Didn't clean. Didn't light a candle. Just waited. An hour passed. Then 2. And then, the door opened. Tyler stepped inside. No words. Just that look, like a man dragging a lifetime of guilt behind him. He sat on the same couch where he first cried days after the party. But he didn't cry this time. He just looked at me and asked, "Is there any version of this where you still want me in your life?" And without thinking, I answered, "Yes, but only if you stop asking me to carry what isn't mine." He broke then, not into tears, but into something quieter. Relief. We talked for hours. About his guilt. About Josh. About their mother. About how he got caught in the middle, believing things he didn't even fully understand. He told me he wanted to cut contact with her for good. He told me he hadn't heard from Josh in days. He won't answer anyone now, not even her. I shrugged. Some lessons come slow. We didn't solve everything. We didn't try to. But when he stood up to leave, he hugged me, tighter than he ever had as a child. "Thank you," he said. "For what?" "For letting me come back." I didn't say anything, because sometimes the real victory isn't winning the fight. It's choosing not to keep bleeding after the battle's over. 2 weeks later, I got a notification. A new fundraiser. Josh's name. The title? Starting Over. My Journey to Healing. The description was vague. Emotional. Full of buzzwords. A man trying to rewrite his story again. This time for strangers with credit cards. I stared at it for a while. Then I shared it. Not to mock him, but to let it float out into the same internet he used to humiliate me. Let the world decide who he really was. Let him carry his own narrative now. Because me? I was done being part of it. I never got an apology from their mother. Luke visits sometimes. Still quiet. Still thoughtful. But there's a heaviness in his eyes now. Like he's seen the edge and doesn't want to go back. Tyler? He's around. More than ever. Sometimes he talks. Sometimes he just sits with me on the porch. That's enough. And Josh? Well, some people never come back. And that's okay. Because in the end, I didn't need revenge. I didn't need redemption. I just needed to remember who I was. Before they tried to rewrite me. And now, I'm him again. Finally.